Hello students, today I am going to take you through the topic types of leaders. The main objective of this topic is to acquaint you with different types of leaders. Take a look at this. Can you identify this person? Can you identify this and this and this person? Yes, they are all iconic figures whom we have heard about, read a lot about. Why did they achieve this kind of a stature? Because they possess something extra in them that the entire world looks up to them and obeys whatever they have said. What comes to your mind whenever you hear the word leader? The first thing that strikes your mind is, oh no, this man is very bossy. Oh, the leader is a very dominating person, because when he is dominating, the people who follow him are less willing to accept whatever he says. They are somehow forced to accept whatever the leader says, and then when they are forced, they feel that the leader is dominating. Another positive aspect of the leader is that he thinks innovatively. He does not think in the regular pattern like many of us do. He adopts the out-of-the-box thinking and comes up with innovative and creative ideas, and that is what makes him special and different from the rest of the crowd. So, he is 100% original and unique individual. He develops and focuses on people, inspires trust in them with the kind of ideas he shares with his followers. He has the quality to ask what and why rather than how and when. How and when are questions that are asked by the followers, and what and why are the questions asked by leaders. He is one person who does not imitate at all. He originates. He is the one who has to start a particular thing and then waits for the others to follow him. There are different types of leaders we can come across, and the styles that these leaders adopt also vary from situation to situation, from leader to leader. One thing we must remember is that there is no perfect style or no perfect leader for all kinds of situations. Situations are never similar, and so leadership styles or leaders also cannot act in the same way in all the kinds of situations that we may come across. How the leader takes the group through a particular situation depends on a whole lot of factors: the complexity of the situation and the skill that the leader shows to arrive at a solution. It is the leader's talent to deal with his followers, and it is the situation, all of these put together, that bring about the best performance in a group. As expected, just as there are positives and negatives for any aspect, the different types of leaders also have their own share of positives and negatives. For instance, an autocratic leader is not the most preferred kind of a leader. The laissez-faire leader also is not the most preferred kind of a leader, because he takes minimum initiative when a task is given to his group. We will now look into each one of these types of leaders in detail. The first type of leader we are going to look into is the traditional leader. Can you think of any traditional leader? Why is the person called a traditional leader? He is called one because he gets into the seat of leadership because of the tradition. It is the position that holds the power and the control rather than the leader or the individual himself. Power is bestowed on this leader because of the traditions of the past. The characteristics of the traditional leader have been viewed as having control and power because those holding the position before them had control and power. In this case, the followers of the leader get promoted or get recognition because of favoritism and not because of talent. Max Weber was the person who first brought out traditional leadership into limelight. In addition to traditional leadership, he also identified two other styles of leadership called the bureaucratic leadership and the charismatic leadership styles. Where can you see these traditional leaders frequently? Most of the representatives of any dynasty who were ruling for more than one generation would fall into this category. Majority of the monarchies, oligarchies, theocracies would be the best example of having traditional leaders. Very often it is the male head of the family who is the traditional leader of that family. Traditional leaders are frequently found in family owned businesses. After the father, it is the son. After the son, it is again the turn of his son. So, it is more or less like the successors who become the leaders, not because of the true ability or quality that the person has. In traditional leadership, the authority is bestowed upon the leader because of tradition. In the charismatic leadership, the authority comes from the personality of the person and the qualities that the leader possesses. In the bureaucratic leadership, authority comes from the powers that are legally attached to the position. So, that is what we have learnt about traditional leader. He is a leader because of the power that comes through his family lineage or the dynasty or family owned businesses. There is nothing great about the individual per se, but there are followers following him in leaps and bounds only because of the position he holds, not because of his characteristics there. Moving on to another type of leadership, this is the autocratic leader. As the word suggests, the autocratic leader is one person who is very authoritative and takes his own decisions and insists that all his subordinates or followers abide by whatever is said to them. He is the final authority on any matter and he expects 100% commitment from his subordinates to abide by what has been told to them. There is absolutely no one in the group who can challenge whatever he has told or the decision he has taken. The perfect example of these autocratic leaders can be found in North Korea and Cuba, where they operate only through autocratic leadership style. This style of leadership is found to be effective when the followers in the group need a lot of guidance. They are not capable of doing the work or a task totally on their own. But this kind of leadership also is found to bring about a lot of resentment in the group when there are a few followers who would like to have some say in whatever decisions are being made. So, the problem arises when there are creative people in the group. These people feel stifled as they are unable to express their ideas, they are unable to voice out their opinions and are forced to do whatever the autocratic leader imposes them to do. The autocratic leader is mainly focused on getting the work done. So, he is called the work-centered leader. He is also known as the authoritarian leader because he exercises the final authority on all the matters that are shared with the group. And so, this style is also called the leader-centered style. All the decision making powers are concentrated only with the autocratic leader. Whenever a task is given, It is the leader who sees to it that a particular structure is outlined. He explains what is expected of his group members and then he tells them what should be the outcome. So, whenever a task is given, you see that majority of the work has been identified by the leader himself, leaving very less or little things to be done by the followers. As a result, the subordinates simply do whatever they have been asked to do. This is more or less some kind of spoon feeding. You have to do this, you have to do that, and you have to do this. But one strict aspect about this leader is that any deviation from whatever has been told to the subordinates, he will not tolerate. That is why we have the name authoritarian leader. Why not? Probably Hitler fits this bill perfectly. This kind of work allotment, structuring a job and all the things that the leader does becomes so habituated to the subordinates that they start expecting more from their leader and they will not start on a job until and unless these instructions are given by the leader. They have an authoritarian figure who is going to tell them what they are supposed to do. As a result, these followers become completely unaware of the goals, the ultimate goals. Because of this kind of allotment of work and close supervision, the subordinates in the group are not fully aware of what their contribution should be to a group or to an organization. They perform only to the extent that they are told by the leader. It is the autocratic leader who takes full responsibility of the success or failure of a given task. He takes full responsibility for decision making, for initiation of the action, for directing, for motivating and also for controlling of various other factors that play while the subordinates are working in a particular task. Why does he take this kind of complete authority within himself? This is mainly because the leader feels he is the only competent person in the group and the others cannot do it on their own. It is also his ability to take responsibility for the entire action and the ability to make the first move that make him the leader. He sees his subordinates as being incompetent and as people who cannot make the first move or take the initiative. As a result, he expects his followers to be obedient and comply with whatever has been told to them. What we see with this kind of a leader? He is always on a telling mode, never asking his followers, what shall we do? Okay, this is the situation, what do you think can be the outcomes? He is always on a telling mode, you do this, you do that, you go there, you get this and all. So, the autocratic leader is also called as a teller. The autocratic leadership style is found to be efficient because there is minimum time lost in seeking opinions from others. You give a problem to a group, the autocratic leader takes hold of the situation, understands what it is, lays out a guideline, then shares with his followers, you have to do like this, A, B, C, D and E. Yeah, you are at the final answer of the problem that has been given to you. There is minimum time loss. So, if at all there is a situation where time is limited and you have to arrive at a solution, the autocratic leader is found to be efficient because the followers have no time to say, we are not going to do this, we are not going to do that. This leader has the ability to tell them, you have to do it and you can do it. The subordinates often show resentment for this kind of a leader. Why? Purely because the followers are never, or rather the subordinates are never asked a single question. When do you feel a part of a group? Whenever your involvement in the group is sought, you contribute some points to the group, and whenever someone in the group or your leader himself appreciate you, you feel so nice about it. Your self-esteem gets a boost. But such kind of a situation we will never come across when there is an autocratic leader at the helm of affairs. As a result, you see that communication is mainly one way. There is no scope at all for a two-way communication because it is only the leader who is always doing the talking. This type of leadership may be harmful at times because the subordinates are not completely informed of the minute details that may be involved in a particular task. As a result, there may be some issues related to miscommunication and the group performing not well. Communication is a very crucial aspect when people are working together. It is the job of the leader to see to it that all the details related to a particular job are transferred to them clearly without any loss. Probably in a hurry or because the leader thinks, oh, I will look into the matter later, he may not pass on particular instructions to the followers. As a result, this might hamper on the quality of output that the group may work towards. The followers generally are scared of this kind of a leader. Even if they want to voice out their opinion, they are scared because of this authority figure. They stifle all these feelings and emotions and lead a very subdued kind of a life when they are under his leadership. This also makes them feel insecure at some time. If the follower wants to progress in his career or wants to become the leader within the group, he cannot, because this authoritarian leader, rather the autocratic leader, will never let it happen, because he is operating there purely because of his self-interest. He wants to hog the limelight, he wants to be the helm of all the affairs, and he wants to be the final authority on what is being said and what the group will have to do. Under this autocratic leadership, we have two subcategories. First one is the tough autocrat and the second one is the benevolent autocrat. Autocrat himself is a symbol of authority, dominance and rigidness. The tough autocrat thinks that he has to only deliver orders, pass on orders, and his followers have to abide by them without a question. Very often, this kind of leadership brings about insecurity in the followers and lack of confidence in their own abilities. The tough autocrat thinks that you have to pay them for their performance. That is it. The matter ends there. He does not appreciate the followers enough. Praise is very sparing in his dictionary. A little bit of praise from the leader definitely adds a lot of morale boost, but that is something which will come about very rarely from a tough autocrat. However, the benevolent autocrat is considered someone like a paternal figure in the family. As the word says, benevolent means kind. Even though he is an autocrat, this is a milder version of autocrat and he is called the benevolent autocrat. In this kind of leadership, the followers muster up the courage to go up to the leader, share their problems and seek his advice. This leader looks upon himself as being the parent figure. He is not at all miserly with his compliments towards his followers. He understands that a good word now and then with his followers is definitely going to work magic towards the performance of the group. He thinks of himself as the father of the group, the paternal figure. So, whatever he says is right. That is the kind of impression the benevolent autocrat has about himself. He creates such an atmosphere that none of the group members can take a final decision without consulting him, without discussing their problems with him. He feels he is involved with all the success that his followers taste. He takes pride in controlling their actions and feels that their success is because of the contributions that is made by him. The contribution is in the form of valuable advice that is given to them when they came to him with their problem. This is the democratic leader who takes all kinds of contributions from his team members, considers what they are telling him on a given issue. Also known as participative leader, the leader values the inputs that are given by his followers or the team members. However, the responsibility of taking the final decision lies in the hands of the democratic leader. This kind of leadership is found to boost the morale of the employees or the group members, because they feel that they are making a contribution towards the growth of the group or the organization. It gives them a kind of feel-good factor as the leader is seeking for their opinions. Such a kind of leader and his leadership style is found to be very effective for an organization that is going to make changes within the organization. The changes can be brought about easily, and it is basically a participative style wherein there can be some kind of brainstorming sessions and the various participants in the group will be asked to come up with their own ideas. Once the leader compiles all these ideas, the final authority stays with him to identify the kind of steps he is going to take after consulting his people. By doing so, the followers also feel that they have been involved in the decision making process in any kind of a decision that is going to make a huge difference to the organization. This style of leadership is found to be highly effective when important decisions are to be taken in a very short period of time. The democratic leader is also known as the consultative leader. He is also known as the group-centered leader because he values the opinions of the group very high. As there is involvement of the members in the group in decision making, the group functions with great congeniality, and this kind of leader, the democratic leader, is never resented ever by his followers, unlike the autocratic leader. He encourages his subordinates to function as a social unit and makes full use of their talents and abilities. Supposing a particular event is coming up in the organization, a cultural show has to be staged. So, this leader will ask his followers what are the various things we can do to make it lively, and he will delegate work to his members. He will identify the abilities and talent of each of his followers and make the best use of what they have got in order to stage a brilliant show. Participative leaders or democratic leaders, as they are called, they call for their subordinates to exercise high degrees of responsibility and freedom. The democratic leader just entrusts the task and expects their subordinates to be independent in whatever they are doing and hence take responsibilities for their action. They also give them certain freedom so that they need not go to the leader for each and every small thing. The leader does not use authority at all, but ensures that he is the final authority on the kind of decisions that are being made by the group. This kind of leadership is found to be useful in many ways. When the subordinates feel that their ideas are important for the group or the organization to go forward, they really develop a sense of self-esteem and feel more committed towards their group. Once they develop this kind of self-esteem, once they feel that the leader is not cheating on them, that the leader is not dominating, he is seeking their opinions, the followers also will work in the direction to bring about more creativity in whatever they do, more responsibility in whatever they take up, and try to be more innovative to come up with ideas and solutions that will help for their future, their own future, as well as for the future of the organization and performance of the group as a whole. Just as we said that there may be the positive sides and negative sides to a particular kind of leadership, the democratic leadership also has its own share of the negative sides. Sometimes participation means there is little or no participation at all. Just in the recent example that we have discussed, when the group has to stage a performance, the leader may identify one or two people who can perform a particular talent show or something, but the others may just try to get away from this kind of a responsibility. As a result, what happens? The leader has failed to put up a good show on the behalf of his group. So, a democratic leader, when allows certain amount of leeway, the outcome may not be that successful. A charismatic leader is a person who is extremely high on self-confidence. He thinks he knows everything, he is in the control of a situation. The charismatic leader has a lot of conviction in his own abilities and his judgment abilities too. He has a vision and he has a clear idea as to how he has to reach the goal. He has a vision and he will lead the group also towards reaching the idealized vision through a proper channel and a proper plan. He is in a position to clearly clarify and state the vision in clear terms to the team and make them understand the vision that he has envisaged for the group. It is his articulation capacity that works like magic on the followers. They are awestruck by this person. Can you think of one charismatic leader we have had? Yes, this is one man who can enthrall the entire audience through his charisma, with his ability to speak, with his ability to convey his dream, his goal and his vision to them in clear and fine terms. In addition to the mentioned abilities, this leader is going to go to any extent to get the work done. He is totally selfless and works towards attaining the group's goals. Some of the political leaders that we have are charismatic leaders. The charismatic leader is believed to possess that extra something that they can have the people around them. They have the ability to make realistic assessments and they can lead the group in an able manner. They will consider the environmental constraints that are there, the resources they have got, and they will be in a position to lead the group towards attaining its goal. Charismatic leaders always work towards setting themselves as an example for their followers to follow. They have confidence in their subordinates and at the same time expect a sense of commitment from them. It is found that followers of these charismatic leaders identify with the leader and also they take in the objectives of the leader as their own objectives. They exhibit extreme loyalty towards the leader and have confidence in the leader. They emulate the leader's values and behavior and derive self-esteem from their actions. In addition, it is also found that charismatic leaders have superior debating and persuasive skills. It is these skills that make more and more people get attracted towards the charismatic leader. Owing to the kind of impact and influence these charismatic leaders have on the followers, it is believed that these leaders can bring out some best performances under any kind of a condition. Situations that promote this kind of leadership include a crisis that requires dramatic change. Again, the charismatic leader also has a negative side to it. Charismatic leaders are always portrayed as wonderful heroes, but there also may be some cases of unethical characteristics that may be associated with these leaders. The transformational leader depends on high levels of communication from the management to meet the goals of the organization. These leaders motivate the group members and help in enhancing the productivity and efficiency of the group members. How do they do this? They accomplish this with the kind of high visibility they have and with the kind of communication skills they have. There is a lot of involvement by the management in this kind of leadership, and the management goals are achieved through the role that is played by the transformational leader. The transformational leader focuses on the end picture within the organization and hence delegates the work to his followers likewise. The transformational leadership is based more on the leaders shifting the values, beliefs and needs of his followers. The transformational leadership is found to be highly effective whenever an organization is looking for a change. These leaders are found to be charismatic. They have a vision, they possess the communication skills and they have the ability to have their followers abide by whatever is being said to them. The transformational leaders are inspirational. They communicate with a high degree of expectation to their followers. They motivate the followers and see to it that all the followers offer their 100% commitment towards the goals of the group or the organization of which they are a part of. The transformational leaders are known for their intellectual stimulation. They promote intelligence, rationality and careful problem solving. So, when followers are there under their guidance, they feel a great sense of security and they do not hesitate to seek the opinion of the leader at any juncture. As there is a methodical approach towards all the problems, solutions can be arrived at quickly. The transformational leaders exhibit individual consideration. He is very much unlike the autocratic leader who does not have time for his followers at all. He gives personal attention to all his followers and that personal touch is what brings out the best out of each of the followers in the group. Effective transformational leaders are found to have these characteristics. They identify as being the cause for the change and hence are called change agents. They are there as a medium between the management and the followers, carry out the goals that are set by the management and let the followers work towards achieving these goals. They are courageous, they have great faith in people, they have great confidence in the abilities of their people. They are value driven and are lifelong learners. One value that a leader should always possess is a value of self-learning. So, the transformational leader is always on a learning spree. These leaders are also considered as visionaries. In this chapter, we have seen 5 different types of leaders: the traditional leader, the autocratic leader, the democratic leader, the charismatic leader and the transformational leader. Though the traditional leader exists, it is found that the transformational leader will be effective in majority of the situations that we may come across. However, as mentioned earlier, each type of leader is effective in some kind of situations and may be ineffective in other kinds of situations.